Hey, it's episode 416 of the 343 podcast. Today I have a guest on the show. His name is Jimmy Obleda. He is nationally renowned, so you may have heard of that name before. He is a Uruguayan American. He's an OG as far as I'm concerned. I got to witness his work here as a coach, as a youth coach, many, many years ago. I don't even want to say the number. Maybe it was like 20 years ago or something. He was the standard or one of the standard bearers way back in the day. So if we fast forward to today, he not only has ridiculous experience at the youth level here in the United States, but also at the professional level, also at the youth national team level, also at the international level. So this is a extremely worthwhile conversation for everybody in the audience and those outside. I wish they would come inside to pay attention to. I'm going to start off today, however, with a very brief video of Tab Ramos, the former U.S. men's national team legend. During an interview, he was asked, or he was kind of pontificating, what is the difference between youth development from a competitive winning standpoint in the United States versus in Uruguay, which is obviously where Tabare's heritage is also from. So it's kind of apropos of today's guest that I inject this video. Let's start there, and then it's going to be an immediate transition into Jimmy Obleda. I hope you enjoy this one. Here we go.
If you think about the way sort of soccer operates in the U.S., where, we talk about, not being too competitive too early and being careful with being focused on results too early. Okay. In Uruguay, you're literally playing derbies against a team across the road that you have to win already at 7 and 8 years old. I mean, these are games you have to win because the fields are packed with parents all the way around who want to win the game. So my recollection is how tough it was to play the games at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old.
Guys, are we paying attention? Can we please finally get competitive here in the United States? Can we please start understanding that 8th place trophies is not a good thing? And not just for the sport, which is supposed to be competitive, by the way. It's just not a good thing for the human being. Let's get competitive. Let's have some fire, some passion. Let's not muzzle ourselves. Let's not censor others who are passionate and who are hardcore and who are doing marvelous things, remarkable things here in the ecosystem. By the way, if you are soft, you are not doing remarkable things here in the ecosystem. I mean, soft people will cheer you on. Oh, he's so good. Look, he doesn't say anything to the kids on the sidelines. He lets them play. He lets the game be the best teacher. Fucking all nonsense. Let's get going with Jimmy Obleda. I hope you can handle him because he comes with the fire that I come with and some. Here we go.
Yeah. Local right now. Been here for a little bit. I can leave tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm working with Uruguay for their youth teams and stuff. Been doing that for about the last 2 years. Scouting. I work with their teams. Actually going to Miami to do some stuff there. I've also been doing stuff with FIFA. So I've been with teams in the World Cup, the Club World Cup, waiting to see who I get assigned this next World Cup. But yeah, man, just local, but still all over the world, man, all over busy doing stuff,
Badass, brother. Good to see you, man. Last time I see you, I don't know if I'm wrong, correct me. And I don't know if you remember, actually, because I told the story times. I told the story more than a couple of times. I'm lying. It was at the Argentinian meat market. And then, Gaucho, and obviously we had the U.S. men's national team on one of the screens, right? And that's the very day that they got eliminated from the World Cup qualifying. And look, I'm just going to speak for myself. I was a happy motherfucker. Do you remember?
Oh, I totally remember. I remember. Well, I think that day, Uruguay had played. There was like the few last final in Uruguay's always been playing in the repechaje, trying to qualify in. So I think Uruguay, I can't remember who they played and qualified in. And then the U.S., we switched. It was on the other TV. And I remember you getting up and going, this is unbelievable. And I said, hey, this is a product of what they created, right? And we just kind of like looked at each other and walked away and stuff. But it's so funny because that's such a testament, that game and what it's become, right? Like, remember all the pictures after that guys didn't want to get their feet wet walking across the field, and come on, man. No, I remember that day. Man, that was a historic moment in soccer right there.
as if it was yesterday. It's incredible that how time flies, Jimmy. Look, so let me lay out the table for you here. And the audience that we have. I don't know if you followed any of our work or any of that stuff, which is fine either way. It's very hard for me to find guests to come on the podcast because I don't reach out to anybody because I don't think, you know how I am, man, and you know how we are in general. It's like, man, like I don't think you know what you're talking about. So I really want you on the show? And what are we, like, no.
Yeah.
And but from your perspective, when I look at you, man, you're one of the OGs who actually was a builder, who actually, and you still are, right? But I'm rewinding the tape to when you were at Fullerton Rangers at this point, right? Which is kind of when Brian and myself came on the scene here in Southern California, and we were kind of scoping everything out, like who knows their shit, who doesn't know their shit, what teams are the best, all that stuff, who's setting the standard. And Fullerton Rangers with yourself was obviously one of those eye-opening moments where like, wow, do you even know what team I'm talking about? It was with Felipe and Gustavo
It
and
was in
who's
96, in the 96, 97 with Ami Pineda, the Ro Pineda,
yeah,
with Ricky Ruiz, Robert Coronado, Pelon Lemus. Yeah, bro. They don't
that
make
whole
things like this
squad.
anymore.
Incredible, man. That was pre-US Soccer Development Academy, before all this nonsense started sprouting up here in the States. And look, that's why I wanted you on. I reached out to Benny. You know, Benny co-hosts a show with me, and he mentioned you. I'm like, absolutely, man. If you can hook us up, that'd be awesome. I don't know if you maybe have a 90-second or 2 or 5 minute spiel. Who is Jimmy Obleda for the folks here?
Yeah, no. Are we on? We're going.
We're on, man.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Who is Jimmy Obleda? Wow, that's a great question. I think I always start by saying I'm a winner. And I think with everything, it starts with that. From every program I've taken over, every job I've had, every player I've worked with, I think that's an important factor here. Winning has always been the driving force. And I know some people say, "Oh, winning," but people don't understand that the drive to win is what's going to make you a better soccer player. The drive to say, I'm going to beat the guy in front of me because I'm going to take him on. I'm going to be brave. The guy that's going to be the defender say, I'm not going to let him beat me today. And building that mentality in especially in today's world, because you went way back to the Ranger days and stuff. And even prior to that, it was always trying to build teams that were going to beat those ones that were supposed to beat us. Right. So Jimmy Obleda is a winner, and everything that I've done has always been about that. Has always been trying to create that environment. I think culture is such a misused word nowadays in everything, but it's the environment. It comes from my blood. I'm a Uruguayan descent. Everything we've always done has been through sheer sacrifice and drive and overcoming obstacles. And my environment that I've always tried to replicate that, especially in the United States. I've been blessed. I've coached at all levels: professional, college, youth national teams, youth national champions. I've seen it all. I've worked with every type of player. Most recently, I've been in Spain. I was working in Spain. I was in Uruguay for 3 months finishing my pro license. I've worked with FIFA. Now I'm doing scouting also for Uruguay, like I think I told you earlier. So I'm someone that's seen it all. I've seen it all. I've seen the evolution of the game, and from when we first met a long time ago to what it is now. And I think for me is one thing I think you can appreciate this is that the more I'm in this game and the more I see it, how it evolves, the more I'm happy to be who I am. And the more I'm comfortable being who I am, and the more I'm comfortable pushing players and the environment to be what it is, because I've seen what it takes and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable being that guy that's going to make winners, and regardless what it takes to push them to become. And again, then we add, make them better human beings, because the soccer is the business that we're in. But at the end of the day, their ability to overcome obstacles, fight through things, and put a value to what they're doing. Because I think here we don't put the value that it deserves to be a soccer player, and with the value that it deserves, I think yeah, I'm good. I'm good being who I am. And again, when people ask, I go, hey, just Google me and you'll know who I am.
I love it, dude. I love it. I'm getting to that point too. It's kind of like just Google and you'll see some things. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea, as I'm sure you aren't either. You obviously you know that we're from Argentine heritage, so we're kind of blood brothers, the Uruguayans and the Argentinians. We have a certain character to us, but there's a reason that those cultures in particular are winners, like you said, Jimmy. So we can take this conversation in a million different ways because of the richness of your experience. I'm just going to throw out topics and let's riff on them if you don't
Yeah, I
mind.
love it. Love it. I love it.
So just kind of segueing from what you just said, riff a little bit on how has the culture changed from the 20 years ago, soccer in America, to today. Where is that line? Because it seems like the culture has shifted the line of what maybe a coach or somebody in the business can actually do before, somebody shows up and says, hey, that's not how we do things around here. You know what I'm getting at. So I don't know if you can riff on that a little bit. From my end, they've heard me. We have over 400 episodes at this point. So they're sick and tired of me saying things like, American soccer culture is soft, right? And so I don't know. Riff on whatever, go in whatever direction you want to go, Jimmy.
It's funny because we go back 20 years ago when there was only one league. There was only one league. There was only one national championship. There was only one regional champion. And I'm going to go into the segue of where we want to go with this with today's players. In those days, there was a filter. If you were a good player, you were in the top. And the filter would filter you down. And if you worked hard or your team worked hard, you'd move up. And there was this filter where you knew where players were. The same thing was with coaches. If you were a good coach, you'd earn your stripes, beating the big clubs and moving up into the Premier from Silver, League, Gold, Premier. And then if you qualified to the National State Cup, you'd have a great run. And people would gain that street cred, right? From the players would earn it and the coaches would earn it, right? And what would happen was players in that environment were being pushed because it was important to get results. And I'm gonna say this because I know a lot of people are gonna say, because there's that, where I'm heading with this. There's that, all we care is about winning and development. I'm gonna tell you, 25 years later, I still watch youth games. I'm gonna tell you, the guys that were always about developing and playing good soccer played 20 years ago good soccer. They're still playing good soccer now. The guys that are always about counterattacking, hitting long balls, they did it 20 years ago. They're still doing it now, and they're in these top leagues. So don't tell me that winning doesn't creates these monsters. No, what winning exposes you. It exposes these players to environments that they need to. That you see who can make it, who can't. So you'd go to these games and you'd see these pros, because I put pros in air quotes, but battles. You'd play, I don't know, we would play against a surf club that always had great players. So we have to deal with, okay, this is how we're going to deal with them attacking us. And so you would also, as a coach, develop technically, tactically. Players would develop tactically, right? And those games had everybody, there's this like investment. If you were relegated, like, wow, all that without would imply, right? And if you were promoted, what that would imply. I think your brother had a team, an OSC, a girls team, if I don't really remember, that he got them all the way up to Premier and what that did, right? So it was people were earning it by sheer like their success and their work and the effort they were putting into it. Players were earning it. Now, what has become now has transpired 25 years later is now everyone's vanilla. Everyone is the same. And as much as you say you play in this league and this league and this league, this team might have two good players, this team might have two, but there's no real environment that you're going to see where they're coming out of. you're going to really see, like, expose the player. I'll give you this example. I was in Uruguay for 3 months, and I was at my old club that I played with, Liverpool. And so I would watch their training sessions. I would watch their youth games, right? And these youth games, I mean, you had parents around the fencing, involved in yelling and living the game. I mean, everyone, right? The games, I mean, you could have a 7th place team against a 12th place team, and they're playing as if they have to, it's the end of the world. And they have promotion, relegation, and these games. And I would look from afar, I'd look and I go, that kid's a pro. Because the tackles he had to weave through and get out of, and the situations he had to get out of, kids in America don't find themselves in. The pressure, the environment, the sheer will to, like, say, damn, I have to break this line with a dribble, and they're going to clobber me, but I have to do it, right? Or I have to go in this tackle. I fly back. When I come back, after 3 months, I come and I go to an MLS Next event in Coachella. Gary, it was a country club. Parents were having cigars and brandy on the sides, and the kids were having coffee in the middle of the field. And I'm going, and I'm hearing, oh, this kid's a pro. And I'm like, no, he's not. He's not. And I think that goes back to the softness part where it goes in, because now what happens is, back in the day, we had coaches that loved us and kicked. Well, we've misconstrued now a hard coach and someone that says, hey, it's not good. It can be better with, oh, he's too tough on him. No, he loves that kid enough that he's putting himself out there to say, look, it's not good enough. Because the easiest thing now that coaches do is what? They sit or they stand, cross their arms. Hey, Rondo, just move. Let's 4v3 or 4v2, whatever. And they cross their arms, as opposed to coming in, getting in there, showing, demoing, really getting their hands dirty and helping kids, right? The easiest thing, because they know now, who cares? I get paid. It doesn't matter. Okay. So now what happens is you have these kids that grow up in this environment where they do nothing wrong, anything that happens to them, they're protected either by their parents, right? The first time coach gets mad at them and says, you're on the bench, what happens? They take them to another club. The next time somebody says, hey, you're not good enough, they take them to another club. So these kids go through the system, always protected. They jump from status to status. And they think, oh, if I have this patch, I'm going to be good. And I'm going to go here, I'm going to get this patch. And all that is just make believe. It's all smoke and mirrors. And then when they come into the real soccer world, let's say, which now, again, clubs aren't going to tell you now with the dynamics of the changing of the college and the travel and the transfer portal and the internationals. Not easy now for a true senior freshman going to college and play. They're not going to tell you that. So a college coach, again, because of the softness, I put myself, I'm an assistant coach with Eddie Soto at Dominguez Hills. And I put myself in his shoes and kind of look and going, am I going to risk a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, right? That the first moment I say, we need to win today because we're going into LA, Cal State LA. They're dogs. They're going to fight. They're going to, this is the environment. And he's going to say, Coach, why are you yelling at me? You're hurting my feelings. Or am I going to go with a 21-year-old, 22-year-old who's didn't make it as a pro in England and Spain and Germany, and you say, let's go, and he goes, you got it, no problem. Right? So the very environment, this is all a long segue, the very environment has created this soft type of player. Now, it goes and it transforms into our youth national teams too. It goes into our youth national. You do not see the players, and mind you, again, people don't know this. Like, I've seen the whole process when I was involved with the national. I'm not somebody who's just talking out of, I've seen it. I remember back in the days when Anami Pineda wouldn't get called to the national team. Why? Because he dribbled too much. Because he was too small. And he was the best number 10 in the country. The best. And then we had guys like Hugo Perez, Wilmer Cabrera working with the youth national teams. No, they didn't fit in the mold. They didn't fit in the little box. Right? So those players, I mean, now the players come into that environment. I'm a pro. I mean, I don't need the national team. The national team needs me. When back in the day, it was like, yo, if I get called in the 18 or 20s, that's like the biggest honor to have. Okay. So again, the very environment that's created this, and again, I hate to say this, but I do blame a lot of this on the parents, right? Because the parents are what drive the market. They drive everything. So parents are the ones that have been like, again, no one's going to tell my son he's not good enough. No one's going to tell my son that he can't play here, right? My son is an MLS level player. And if you are that guy says, listen, he has potential. He can go there, but he has to do these things. Okay? What are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. And they find someone who's going to tell them what they're going to want to hear because they know that person knows that they're going to generate that kind of money. Plus, they add the $100 a month private training, right? That is going to up his salary, right? And give you the whole, okay. Again, I go back to 20, 25 years ago when we had these teams, my 96, 97, and even a little bit before that, there were kids. They would show up to practice. These kids, 14 years old, and not that I condone this, driving their older brother's car to practice to show up. And how'd you guys get to practice? Your mom's at work, your dad's at work. Oh, we took Cena's car and we drove it. 14-year-olds driving to make it to practice.
Yeah.
Right? These kids would play against older men. They'd go play Sunday league against older men.
Yeah.
It was a different type of player. Those are the kids that you'd say, let's go. And they'd be like, the day we beat the Germans in Dallas Cup in the final, we won that game walking into the tunnel because we were all in their grill. I mean, kids that were like, we're not losing today. They're coming to the tunnel. We're not losing. And the Germans, I'm like, what's going on here? Today, to get a kid to have a personality, to squeeze, to just back something, I mean, I encourage that with my kids, like, say something to me, question me, and, acknowledge, question each other. So I think the very environment and that it's taken, it's created what we're seeing now, you know what I mean, with these players. And it's unfortunate because people will say to me, I think, more kids play nowadays, and for sure, but that doesn't mean that they're better. Quality at the end of the day is more important than quantity. And back in the day, if you played club or you played in an academy, you knew you were legit, right? And if you were premier, you knew that kid was legit. And if you were bronze, you knew that kid had some work to do, or that team, but you had a chance to move up. You had a chance, right? So the cream would always rise to the top, and the ones that didn't get it wouldn't go. Again, I get on this rant and kind of talk about it. It's like, one of my biggest issues, people say, oh, so many kids quit soccer nowadays, right? Because of the coaches stuff. I'm 54 years old, and I can never recall a day quitting soccer. And I had some coaches in the youth game that were crazy. The stuff they would say, right? The stuff they would say. And never once did it cross my mind because I loved the game so much and I was going to prove him wrong and I was going to do it. And I was blessed and I'm so appreciative of that coach nowadays. I still talk to a few of them. I'm so appreciative of them because I realized that the way they were doing it was to get that out of me, that fire out of me, right? Again, the more we see as the progression of time, I think I'm starting to see more and more parents are starting to see that also, that those coaches, because now it's gone too extreme the other, because again, everyone's so concerned about hurting feelings and stuff. And I think when you can present to a parent, the parents I work with say, look, I want the best for your son. I want him to be successful. Yes, I would love nothing more for him to be a pro, but right now that's not the goal. The goal is can he juggle the ball 100 times, or can he hit a bender? Right? If he can do that, then we're going to get closer. I can tell you what you want to hear, but that doesn't help you and your son. It doesn't help me either. I mean, it helps me. I can tell you what I want, what you need to hear. That's just more work for me because now I'm holding myself accountable.
Yeah, Jimmy. Look, man, we can be here for 12 hours. Um, so I love it that people are going to hear it straight from you, because I've been preaching this thing over and over again, and you say it right, and you say it with credibility, with passion, with flow. You're not making anything up. I know some of their rebuttals because I know how they've been brainwashed, right? The community here, the ecosystem here, and one of their main rebuttals when you're going on these rants, or I'm going on those rants, is like, well, Gary, Jimmy, like, this doesn't make any sense. Look at our pro players now. So many of them are in Europe and they're doing good in Europe. Like, we've never had better players. They think that this generation of players is far superior than the generations of the early 2000s, then of the 90s, then of Tab Ramos, then of Claudio Reyna, that whole group that we kind of grew up with. They think that the new crop is better than them now, and far better, and that we have a much bigger top player pool. I know what my responses are for that, but this is not my platform today. It's all about you. So you let her rip. Like, what do you think? Are they better nowadays than they were back in the day? And if so, then does that go against what you just finished saying, that things seem to have decayed from 20 years ago?
Well, I'll start, and again, I always like telling people I don't like wasting time, and I like being very honest and forthright, because then at least if you know and I know, we're not going in circles, right? I by no means think that today's generation is better than it was in my generation when I was chasing being in the World Cup team, to the Landon Donovan generation, to the Tab Ramos, because guess what? This generation has everything. We had nothing. We had to leave. I had to leave the U.S. at 17 to go play overseas. All of us had to leave. We had no league, right? And we had to go struggle in, like, some guy would go to Germany, second, third division, right? Those guys had to really grind through it. Okay. Now they have everything. They have the best physios, the best doctors, the best everything. Okay. The game has evolved tremendously. Now the game is more protective of those types of players than it was the days where, they'd have to break your leg to get a yellow card. But I'll even go even more, because people say, well, you're still not hitting the point. When the games really matter, where are our players? Where are those guys? When the games really matter, when the games are on the line, right? Where's going to be the Pulisic? Where's going to be the Weston McKinney? Which, by the way, I'm a Weston McKinney fan. I like him. I'm just, okay? But where are those guys going to be? Right? When those moments come. Yes, but are they playing in the leagues? Are they really, like, lighting it up? Weston's killed, again, Juventus and Pulisic, right? But who else is lighting it up where you're like going, holy cow? I mean, again, we talk about more players playing in overseas. People don't remember back 20 years ago, you only were allowed 3 internationals per team. Now you can have your whole team international if you want. So having that opportunity to go there didn't exist for some of us. When I wanted to get a work visa in Holland, they said you had to have like 70% caps in your national team, and I had 0. Right? Now they take you at a young age and they're going over there. Okay. So, but I'll even go even farther than that. Even now with the younger youth teams. Not too long ago, our U15 national team got beat in Mexico, right? Got beat like 5-0 by Mexico. Okay. Back in the day, that would be unheard of. Right? If we've advanced so much, why aren't our teams making it past the same rounds that they did 20 years ago? Mm-hmm. If we've evolved so much, where are all these special players that we talk about? They're out there. I know they're out there. I've seen them out there. I can tell you why they don't, because they go in and then they squeeze all the soccer out of them. Right? You see a little air quote Messi on the field at 8, 9, 10 years old. They pull him into their system and they, no more of that. 2 touch, a little bit of pressure, play backwards. So they squeeze the soccer out of them. And then they become these robots that, right? And then what happens? They're not big. They're not. And then they, again, 25 years later, we're still picking the same players we were picking 25 years
Yeah.
ago. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the exact same players.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Right? I mean, you've seen it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so as much as saying, oh, no, they're the same profile of players. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, you nailed it too with the globalization of the game, because back then everything wasn't globalized like it is now. And so clubs in Europe, clubs in South America, they weren't looking at the United States for players at all. So, but people have it confused. They think that if a player makes it overseas or gets purchased or transfers or goes overseas, they must be undeniably better than the one that stayed back home. And that's just not the case. It's just the one that stayed back home may not have had the opportunity to go over there. The one that stayed at home actually could have been better than the one that actually went overseas. Many times better, many times over. But everybody sees the superficial, Jimmy. They just see the pedigree, they just see the badge that you play for, and they naturally come to the conclusion. And I don't blame them, because they don't have expertise in this. They're just, they're fans, or they don't go deep into it. So naturally, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to conclude that, well, yeah, he plays, he for Dortmund, he must be better than the guy who plays, in the Austrian division. So there's that. And then there's the monetization aspect of it, because once Pulisic really broke through, Jimmy, a lot of European clubs said, oh, maybe the Americans know how to play, and look at how Dortmund and others are able to monetize the American market. There's a lot of money in the United States for soccer, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of jersey sales, a lot of attention, a lot of broadcasting, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So all of a sudden, everybody wanted to have their own Pulisic, and they started gambling. Let me get this guy. Oh, you're on the U17 World Cup. Okay, we'll take a chance on you. Oh, you did this and CONCACAF qualifying. Great, we'll give you a shot. So that's kind of what opened a lot of the floodgates. Also, it's not that the players were better than their predecessors. It's just the ecosystem shifted completely, man.
Changed. The game has changed, and the game has become more player friendly. Let's say more, right? And to your point of the players monetizing, what's the MLS? Still the same thing, right?
Mhm.
I always tell people, oh, my son's going to sign with Club A in the MLS. I'm like, listen, I go, I'm telling you, you are going to take, if they sign you to a first team contract, you're going to take 100 people. Maybe your mom, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, a couple people, right? They'd rather spend X amount and bring in the 30-year-old, 40-year-old who's going to bring jersey sale, ticket sale. That's what the market is here. And again, to your point in Europe, an American now comes, I'm selling jerseys. Leeds, selling jerseys. Juventus, selling jerseys, coming to America, promoting it. Yeah, the game has evolved. It's become a marketing. Listen, social media. I mean, it's, you market yourself through social media. All these kids are marketing themselves. Goals that back in the day we score were like any day of the week. They hit one of them after 1,000, and they're posting it like they're the GOATs, right? So that's the world we're in right now. And that's, again, to your point with parents, that's where they start drinking the Kool-Aid and seeing they actually think, damn, like that must be the way to the glory land.
Totally, man. I'm curious as to how you think your Fullerton Rangers teams, your good ones, would perform against the current like MLS academies, because I have my opinions too. I think that the best teams from back in the day, you remember that Arsenal team that won 3 national championships in a row? 4 in a row?
Yeah, 4.
Bro, you know how hard it is to do that? And then AB's Real SoCal team that had Evan Rayner and all those guys too. Look, I want your opinion. It's hard to know. We will never know the answer to this, but I think those teams would run these people over.
Yes. Those teams, you know why? Because not only were they good soccer players, they played good soccer, right? They were dogs. They would not lose. And if they knew that you thought you were better than them, they would have an extra chip on their shoulder. They would say, you think because you play with, I don't know, LA Galaxy? Come on, man. Bring it. I mean, and again, in those tackles and the way the environment that they were in every day, every weekend to come play for this. I tell people, I go, our team, I mean, from my team from the 96, 97, there's still 5 playing pro
Mm-hmm,
for this
mm-hmm,
day. There's
mm-hmm,
still 5 playing professional to this day, and they're doing well,
mm-hmm.
right? And again, those I don't, I have no doubt, just like I have no doubt that the players, we had better, the players of the past, we had better material to work with.
Yeah.
It was different. We could mold them differently, and we could stretch them and push them, and and really, and you just create this type of person and player that you're like, yo, this kid's got it, like, and you could throw them anywhere, right? Any environment. Now it's, you don't know, right? You don't know. I mean, because again, because I was coaching in the USL a few years ago, right? We used to play against the MLS Next or the MLS clubs there, right? What an environment for development for an MLS player. Pepe, I used to play against that kid, right? Where I'm like, don't let him get the ball, kick him into the trees, right? Go. Don't, like, he does not receive a ball. Arturo Rodriguez, another special player, right? I mean, for the kid that's playing for Inter Miami right now, the left back, I just like to play. Every weekend we played against him, right? And he was in an environment, 3,000 people yelling at him, cussing him out. You become a pro in that environment with that pressure, right? Having men come against you. Now I go watch a US or MLS Pro match. Come on, man. Come on. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Really? Like, this kid's gonna save my money. This kid's gonna come in, and I don't know, I'm playing Portland and I'm down 1-0. He's gonna come and score a goal for me and tie the game up in that environment where you have maybe 50 people in the stand. And the worst that somebody says is, come on, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, there was a time where Toronto, New England Revolution, into Miami, Texas, they were the feeder. What is it? But anyway, they were in there, and those games for those kids. I mean, I remember seeing some of those kids. I'm like, that's where when you have an old guy tackling you, and because it's his salary, he's playing for his food in next year's contract.
Yeah.
So again, it's the same thing. It's all vanilla, and that's the disappointing part because I think, unfortunately, I think it's gone too far out there where you can't reel it back in because there's just too much money involved in it now, and it's just we've sold this product that we have to stick with it. I just think it's tough. The only hope, and I was talking to a coach last week about this, and is the promotion relegation that I hope the USL goes through and finally gets in it, because again, that is where you're gonna see, number one, who can play in that environment and that pressure player wise, and who the coaches are going to be in that environment. The cream is going to rise to the top. Now the pressure is going to be different because now you're going to need those players that are going to be like, hey man, we have to win today. If we don't win these last 2 games, we're getting relegated.
Everything, Jimmy. Like, scouting has to be top notch. Recruiting has to be top notch. Retention has to be top notch. The business people have to be top notch to make it happen. The owner has to be hungry and with fire in his ass and wanting to invest and wanting to do. Everything has to be operating at peak performance to actually either go up, right, or stay from going down. It is the mechanism. It is the mechanism, Jimmy. There is no if, ands, or buts about it. Because your description of MLS Next, right, Pro and all that stuff, and you're like, come on, man. The same thing on a relative basis happens with MLS itself. Like during the regular season stuff, oh, Portland is going to go play Houston, and like nobody cares if you lose 2-1 or 1-0. You drew the game. It doesn't matter at all. The only time that the American fan base, the players, the organization even feels a little whiff of competition is when the playoffs come around. Because when the playoffs come around, all of a sudden there are, you win or you go home, right? And that's the only time you really see things heat up. to a level where you can say, okay, this now it's competitive. But during the regular season, Jimmy, come on, nobody cares, dude. It
Oh,
doesn't matter. It doesn't
right.
matter. And especially the top players who come to the league here and are getting paid handsomely, they know they're going to be the starter no matter what throughout the entire season. So does it really, is he going to go into the tackle 100% knowing that he might get hurt? Maybe not. But if he goes in 50% or 75% and it's Hansi Flick, who's his coach on the sideline, you're done. You're not playing ever again.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's the thing. That was one of the hardest parts, I think, with players. And it's when you would talk to, again, going back to my original question, who was Jimmy? And that's a winner, right? I think people misconstrue this drive and this like this ruthlessness of winning and this not cutthroat, but this no, I don't accept anything less in any aspect, training, preparation. It's something embedded in me. And it's something that in every game, I don't care if we're playing the marbles, right? And that is something that I grew up playing in when I went to Uruguay. I had to learn fast. When I played in Metro, I had to learn fast that, yo, if we lose, we're getting relegated. But you already have that in your DNA. So when you're talking to some players going, hey, man, we got to get out there today because we have to win. And they look at you like what? Winning and losing is like this. And it's the youth game too. Like, you know what I mean? Like winning, losing, okay, no big deal. It's like, no, like just I lose and it ruins my week until the next game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the feeling players to really squeeze out every inch of them. And, you know, they say you turn a coal into a diamond, really squeeze is having that daily pressure, that daily ability to go like, all right, I got to have my best version of myself today.
Yeah.
That this best version is going to open up doors for me. It's going to save me. It's going to move me up. It's going to keep me a contract. It's going to, you know, whatever it is, it's going to save my family. That's the thing. That's why I always say, because I start talking about this, that's why I really believe it. It breaks my heart to say it. We will never win a World Cup. The United States, you know why? Because when it comes down to those final rounds, when it's life or death, when it's like a tackle, just to put your hands to save a ball from going in, or you're the last guy, you're the best, and you're going to take them on, the willingness to do that. At the end of the day, the teams that have the 1, 2 special 3 or have the most special players are going to win. The ones that like, I don't care. Argentina won last year's World Cup with an inspired, or not last year, the last World Cup with an inspired Messi and 10 guys behind that says he's going to lead us. Right? And a Di Maria in the final was amazing. But a guy that said, hey, follow me, lead, I'm going to take you guys. And they tackled it, Paul, all of them. And it wasn't the prettiest soccer, we could argue this, but you know what? That's what's going to get you to win a World Cup. And that's where it goes back to, I don't know if we have that, if our players have that when the moment comes. When the moment comes for us, and that's where I think we come up short.
Have you seen those reels on social media where they're asking the Colombians after they lost the Copa America to Argentina? You know, they're asking former players like Oscar Cordova and that cohort. They're like, hey, like, what's the problem? Why, like, we're better than Argentina on a talent, player by player, talent by talent overall. And I agree with them. They are more skillful. They are better. You know, all of them, Luis Diaz, all those guys. What's the problem? And their answer was, there's just something in the Argentine DNA. They are winners from the moment that they are 3 years of age. They are not allowed to lose. Like, it physically, they feel ill and sick to their stomachs if they even lose when they're a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old. And the parents feel it the same way. There's that constant fire about being a winner. And so you get to the professional level, the international level, and it's those moments that you just described, Jimmy, when the shit's on the line, right? Where every little battle matters, that seems to edge them out, give them that little extra over the more talented France, over the more talented Colombia, over Spain, all those guys. And it doesn't mean that they're going to win all the time. Obviously not, you know, because Spain wins and other people win. But there's that extra spark that I agree with you, man. Does Christian Pulisic have that? Well, I don't know him personally. He's kind of immigrants from Croatians, and Croatians are kind of badasses too. But what about the surrounding cast, right? Is the surrounding cast, do they really have it, or are they just happy to be there, right? Christian Roldan, right? The kid from Seattle Sounders and is going to be on the World Cup, probably a long time, journeyman. When it comes down to it, is it him, or is it going to be, I don't know, Vitinha who's going to win out? I know who I'm picking, Jimmy, but fuck, dude, like where do we go from here, man? Is there any, aside from maybe USL implementing some form of promotion relegation, which isn't the real thing, right? Because you still kind of need the whole ecosystem to be aligned, and it's still kind of internal. And if I wanted to, I can't start a club of my own here in Orange County because they have territory rights, right? Orange County Soccer Club. But would you say that's a step forward? And is it possible that maybe that stimulates the whole thing to change? Or would you say no matter what, MLS is just going to be closed shop and it's going to be like this, like the NFL?
I think to the first part of that question, I think the USL has made great strides to separate himself, differentiate itself from the MLS. I think if the or the USL can continue to market its brand, market the promotion relegation, obviously money moves worlds, right? So if they can get more money to just bring in higher level players, more marketable level players, and it can almost come close to the MLS
Mhm.
in that respect. I think the USL has as in the next 10 years has a potential of, if they can promote it and do the whole
Mhm.
package, um, can at some level out market the MLS. I think the MLS is the MLS.
Mhm.
As well as I do, it's a very closed system. If you don't fit in their box, you don't, they don't have a problem, which is okay. I mean, it's their party. They let who they want in. But I think that could eventually end up backfiring on them, especially as hopefully people get more educated. We're still in our baby in our diapers in a lot of ways. I mean, the globalization of soccer has opened a lot of eyes, but we still don't know enough. Parents don't know enough, or I don't want to say parents, but soccer fans. No son hinchas.
See,
They're
uh-huh.
fans. They're fans, right?
Yeah.
They're not fanatics of the game and of the sport. And that's where, again, what you're saying, the DNA
Yeah.
that we have, that it just pulls us in every aspect of life and soccer and everything, right? So I think as we start getting older, our kid live through us and live the things that we live and celebrate our, they start seeing and they become more educated and they start having kids, then I think that's where the ecosystem can change. Um, I think right now, of course, US soccer is so connected with the MLS that makes it very difficult. But if in the next 10 years, I think if the USL can definitely um head and push that, I think it's got a good potential of um, being a better brand than the MLS, because you start getting those televised games and stadiums full, 5,000, 6,000 people. They're loud, right?
Mhm.
They're loud,
Mhm.
and their team gets relegated or promoted, and people run on the field, and and their team gets, you know, uh, what is it, relegated, and all of a sudden, you see people crying, you know what I mean? And they take that ownership and that pride, because that's the other part. That's that belong, you know what I mean? Like, people don't belong to clubs here. They're
Right. That's
fans.
right.
Like, they're not like, they don't bleed like the colors, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm a Liverpool fan. You know what I mean? From Uruguay, like, that's my club, and Peñarol, like, that's the club I grew up with. People wear the jersey, but when they start having to be true supporters of their USL team, and that really gets going, I think the kids will also buy into it. I think now it becomes also now the USL, the academy leagues. And now you start getting these kids that start feeling the colors and start, I'm going to play for my club from, cradle to grave type of thing. So now they invest. And now again, which I know might have to sleep for another show, is the solidarity and getting clubs paid. It's like, now you invest. I'm a sporting director. I go, I'm going to invest in these kids because in 5 years, I get them here, we sell them and we make the money. You want true development in this country? You want true development? You start in true development and you start giving clubs money for developing players. I mean, really, don't give me this little like $2 stuff, right? But like Boco C, you develop 3 pros and they go on. Who do you think parents are going to go play for later? They're going to go play for the club that has the best coaches, that develop the best players. Because if they want to be a pro, you can sell them. That's where the true development is going to come into this country. When there's no more like, well, I'll take them and then I'll give you money. No. I have them and I have them through my USL system all the way to the end. Then I sell them to Portugal, like Louisville did to that one kid. We're going to make $1 million. And then for every resale, we make another 5-10%. So I do the USLs heading in the right direction with that. As far as the youth game, I don't know, my man. I mean, I've been back in the youth game about 3 years right now, just kind of seeing after being out of it for 4. And it's disappointing, you know what I mean? And but we have to continue, like we said earlier, we have to keep being who we are because of who we are, we've been successful and we've been able to be in this game for a very long time.
I call it recreational, Jimmy. It reminds me of rec soccer, like MLS Next and the academies. When they play each other, it's very rec oriented. The competition is huge, dude. USL, I agree with you. I don't know if you are aware that I started an agency to represent professional players in 2018, and I moved a whole bunch of MLS Academy kids to Europe. We're right at that 17, 18-year-old age. And so, Martin Vasquez also helped a lot over at Real Salt Lake and other people around the country. So in 2018, 19, 20, a whole bunch of kids left, didn't sign here for MLS. And that lit a fire of competition under MLS's ass to actually start playing the kids and their teams and then transferring some kids when offers would come on the plate. That, coupled with USL, started selling players to Europe also. And now players and parents are starting to say, interesting. Maybe I don't go to MLS. Maybe I go to USL, cut my teeth there as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, get some first team minutes, and they will ship me overseas. Because my experience, because I've done many of those deals too, my experience is USL clubs are way more open to wanting to do that for the reasons that you kind of hinted at. Is it's, first off, money, even though it's not big money right now as of today, but it's a great marketing tool, man. Like, come play for us and we'll make your dreams come true. And lo and behold, I don't know how closely you monitor it, but the past couple of months, there have been 2, 3, 4 high profile transfers from USL to Germany, to Frankfurt, to, I don't remember the other places. And then it's not a coincidence, dude, that then MLS follows suit. Oh, we're going to sell some players too. No, it's crazy, brother. It's crazy. So
it just takes one to start it. That's it, right? It's like, and the thing is, this is the thing that you hit on the head when you started that agency was what they didn't want to do any of that before.
No,
zero. They didn't want to do any of that. It was, no, we're not going to give you solidarity, and we're not good. And then it took one to get a guy going, okay, I'm taking this kid to Holland. I remember I was in Holland and the little boy that had the Saju, was it the African-American boy with the clear eyes. He played on Brian's team on the
Shushu.
Yes. I run into him in Holland and he was training at Ajax, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But the point is, like, they didn't want to do it. And what starts happening? The impulse of everything going that way is like, all right, we got to do something about it, right? We have to do something about it, right? But again, you have a better chance. I tell kids, and especially nowadays with the whole college thing, you have a better chance of going overseas and at a young age, 16, 17, and making it, or at least doing well enough. Because this is the thing now, you do well enough that you can come back and go play Division I college soccer.
Yeah, that's open now. That's right.
Because now they're not going for a 17-year-old kid from MLS Next. They might pick 1, 2 token kids, right? but they're going to go for the 20, 21-year-old. So you can be an American kid, go live in Holland, try to be a pro, let's say, 2-3 years. Okay. You don't make it. You're still under amateur contract, right? Because the limit of the amount of money you made, boom, you come back. You do well in school. You can go to any ACC school or any school that recruits you or brings you in. You're making NIL money. You're getting your full scholarship paid for, and you're set. Or you can go and make it.
Yeah.
Right? You have a better odds, even though how difficult it is, because it's difficult. You have better odds because they're actually looking to give you opportunities. They're actually
They need to survive. They need to survive over there.
Yeah, they need you to do good so they can put you here and get rid of you.
Yeah. No, I never even thought about that pathway now, Jimmy. Especially now, didn't college just change a rule where you could actually have been a professional player paid you're eligible. You're still okay.
For now, it depends on the money you make. So like, I mean, you know how some of these kids go to play in, I don't know, let's say in Holland, and they're making $500 a month or whatever it is. It has to meet a certain threshold of money that they can't be making $1 million, right?
Okay.
But it's some threshold. I have to look at it again. But if they make less than that, hey, they can come back and get a play and do their thing.
They should do that, man. 100% they should do that.
Or for kids nowadays, and a lot, they ask like, I want to go play college ball, right? Unfortunately, again, there's some kids 5 years ago, we'd say, okay, this kid's going to UCLA, this kid's going to Akron. Nowadays, they're not going there because UCLA is going in the transfer portal, and it has of the 28 players, 29 are all transfers, right? Okay, so you're not going to go there and play. So go, if you're that good and you really want to play there, you have a chance. Go play maybe Division II, get some minutes in, right? Then transfer, or go take a gap year, become a man, go live in Uruguay, go live in Spain, go live and become a man, grow up, be in an environment. You can still do online studies. You can still do, coursework, grow, mature, physically mature. And then if you make it, great. If you don't, 2 years, boom, you're back. You're a 20-year-old freshman. That's the norm nowadays. That's the norm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the norm. We had 2 kids. We took, I told you I was working with the Uruguay Federation, and we identified 4 kids. 2 are going, just went to Uruguay. They're Uruguay. They got called in the check this out. This is something crazy, right? U18 national team. U18 national team got here. They're not even in the map of anything. Peñarol just signed him and his brother. His brother would be for the U20, got called into a camp, U20 camp. And now they signed with Peñarol. They're playing in the reserves of Peñarol, right? Listen, they're in the national team player pool. Okay. And now, check it out. Who knows? My son got called into the U20 Uruguay national team pool. Uruguay, right? And listen, here, no one knew.
Nothing.
No.
Zero.
They call him in. They saw him. They came. They watched him here. They took him there. He's there for 7 days. And they're like, dude, they don't make kids like that anymore.
Yeah.
But here, they don't even they don't identify them. They're not in that box, right? Okay. So again, there's so many pathways now for you that if you're smart, you don't have to. There's not one way to make it. Let's say.
Yeah.
Right. You just have to be smart. You have to be smart.
It's good that you're bringing these stories up, Jimmy, because the media here doesn't cover them. The media here is kind of in the pocket of MLS and the establishment and the system. And so they don't want this sort of stuff to get out, that there's that there's not just players falling through the cracks. I always like to say players falling through the Grand Canyon. There's canyons here. Okay. There's canyons. There's so much talent here that is not at MLS academies, that is not in MLS Next, that is just as good, if not better than the players that are there that could be youth national team players, legit youth national team players, and nobody even knows who they are. And I always get the question, oh, well, Gary, if that's true, who are these players? Name them. But bro, if I name you the names of these players, like Obleda, you'll be like, who the fuck is that? Yeah, exactly. You don't know who the fuck that is. That's the whole goddamn point.
Well, and you know what they'll say also? Well, he's too skinny, he dribbled too much, and he doesn't run enough. That's what they'll say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
From Uruguay, they go, again, because this is me sharing this, right? Like, they go, this kid is an excellent player. They said, they don't make it. They go, we here have to make him a little bit stronger. He has to play in our league for a season, get beat up a little bit. That kid can play on the youth national team if he continues. But see, here they look the opposite. They don't look at the soccer player. Here they look at the profile. Like, what does he look like? Oh, well, we want as a 10 or as an 8, he needs to run 100 meters in 4 seconds. He needs to cover this much ground. He needs to be able to do A, B, C. When at the end of the day, if you're a good soccer player, you need good soccer players. Soccer players that are different. Those are the ones that are going to win games for you. Not the robot, the one who can figure a game out on himself and say, you know what? They're in a low block. I'm going to dribble around these 3 guys, break that low block, and put it in a through ball. So those kids, they'll look at them, because again, haven't been involved in it for, like, I know the conversations they have, right? The conversations are, yeah, but
they always say the same thing, Jimmy. It's that, oh, he's a nice little player.
Yes.
That's the exact phrase. That's the exact phrase. That is a nice little player.
A few years ago, I was scouting for him at MLS Club at the MLS Coachella Fest. They had me look at this kid. I don't want to say who it is because I don't want to throw the program to the bus, right? Sure. And I said, this kid's a pro. I said, he's a little guy. He played for a club, Ventura Fusion. Kid was amazing. Little, stocky, getting the crap kicked out of him, asking for the ball again, right? Something different. And they said, yeah, but when I spoke to the head scout, yeah, but he's a good little player, but can he be a pro? And I go, absolutely. I go, if I had a pro team, I'd take that kid at 17 and he'd be debuting with me. I don't know if he'd start every game, but I know if I put him in 10, 20 minutes, he would be a kid that would be like, change the game. And those are the kids we don't have here. Yeah, but again, we can say all these kids, they're out there. These special kids are out there. These 2 that are in Uruguay right now, one's a number 9 that scores goals like amazing from every angle, finishes. His brother's a right back. They got some dog in him. Okay. Hey, listen, El Salvador, one's part El Salvadorian. They're like, oh, we didn't identify him. Well, too bad. They're in Uruguay right now. Potentially going to be on the U18 that's going to play the World Cup qualifier for the South American Cup, right? But those kids are out there. Those special kids. 1, they're out there, and 2, you can't squeeze the soccer out of them. We have to enjoy them and say, okay, how do I make him better? How do I, with the limitations that he has physically, how do I teach this player? Again, just because these are things as a coach that I've always tried to instill in my methodology and in every aspect. I know my limitations, the players, but how can I still get the most out of this player and him? Because he has some things that are very good, that are going to allow me to still win and play good soccer. If he's too small, I tell him, touch and ask for it again. Don't try to dribble. Touch and pick it up on the other side of him. And now once you're behind him, now you're dribbling. Now you do your thing. Because if you're going to be in front, he's going to kick you. Or bounce and ask for it somewhere else. Or, right? Things that he's too small. Well, then teach him. Or he's too slow. Okay, he's too slow. Work on his range of pass. Because the kid's got something. He's not going to beat you on a dribble. Maybe work on his range at short passes, long passes, through balls. Because at some level, Pirlo was the same thing. So you see that the characteristics of kids, and you go, this kid can do it. Especially again, I don't say with arrogance. Like I've seen them all. You know,
we've seen it all. And that's what folks don't understand is we've been through so many cycles. We've seen so many cycles of kids from age 8 to age 30. And but just countless cycles and see what's happened to all of these players over and over and over again. So you get a real feel for the lay of the land. Question to you, Jim, is why do these quote unquote scouts, and I put them in quotes because, I'm not, whatever, I'm not going to be mean. Okay. But I put them in quotes. Why do they not see what we see?
Because
Is it how you opened up our conversation today, that it's in the blood, right? It's in the culture, or it's either you have it or you don't have it. It doesn't matter whether you played pro for MLS and, Bruce Arena was your coach or whatever, and now you're a scout or now you're an MLS coach yourself. Like, is there truth to either you've got it or you don't?
listen, I'm gonna get into a little talk here with this. Is you have to smell it, you have to feel it. Um, Unfortunately, Bielsa once said many years ago, anybody can see a great player. It's the one that you can make better. That's the one you have to be able to see. I think, in my opinion, many of the scouts, they see what they see because they've lived in this echo chamber. They've lived in this myopic world of he has to be the, and when you have people, again, talk about diversity and right, people that have seen other parts of the world, right? I can go and tell you, I've traveled, I've seen Real Sociedad train, I've seen Peñarol, Liverpool, I've seen Monterrey, right? You see the profile, you see the youth players, you see the national teams. You've seen the evolution, one of players. You gotta remember, a lot of these guys nowadays have not seen an evolution. We've seen an evolution of 20, 25 years. They've seen maybe 5 years. Okay. And what happens when you're very myopic in how you see things, you only think this is the only way. And these are and anybody that's outside, and that's the other part, Coach Gary, is the other part is this, is when these coaches are everything now, again, this is because I was with coaching education for many years, right? Everything's become so academic. Everything's about the conference of this and the sessions is this, when it's about, listen, what do I need today? How do I create a session that's going to bring out this and not make it so talk to players like they're students at Harvard? So we want to have this, and the instructors. I mean, I remember the instructors I used to have, the Rene Miramontes, the Carlos Suarez, the guys that had grinded it out, and they would say, "Yeah, that's a great idea, but that'd be stupid," right? Nowadays is, well, they start getting so into the weeds of things. Well, that's not soccer. Soccer's fussy. It's simple. It's simple. How do I break you down? How do I score more goals? How do I create chances? How do I get the balls to my special players? Okay. If I'm limited in certain things, how do I overcome those limitations? How do I make those players better? Right. And we want to make it so into this putty and just move this thing around where now and again, the same thing goes with the players. We don't see players for where they are. I'm going to go, when I was in Uruguay, I was talking to the sporting director, and I went very American on him, right? One day, and I said, what's the methodology here? And he looked at me, he goes, methodology? He goes, we looked at me. I go, what's the methodology? He goes, we need to sell players. We're not going to sell center backs because their Argentinians are selling center backs. The outside backs now are all Ecuadorian. He goes, the nines are Argentinian, or he gave me, he goes, the Colombians are winning the midfield. He goes, wingers, because the gangster needs wingers. So we need to make sure that our style of play develops those wingers, right? So it goes back to the scouting now. So as I'm scouting and I'm with him and we're looking at players, he's like, okay, look at this player. He goes, this player's not very good, but his range of passing is good. So it allows me to get balls to wingers. So I'm going to make him a better passer of the ball to get the ball to my outside wingers or my outside backs coming forward. But when scouts here, I mean, listen, last year I was at the MLS draft, and I ran into a scout, and he's the head of scout of an MLS club. And I feel, it's crazy. So I said to him, I said, we were talking about players, and I said, hey, look, there's these Uruguayans. He's like, no, I don't want Uruguayans. He's like, I want this and that. And I'm like going, what are you talking about? Like, I looked at him, I said to him, I go, have you ever played soccer? Like, you want Uruguayans in these positions. You want a Uruguayan center back. You want a 5. You want or a 6 in here, right? Because we're,
Man.
oh no, it's like, and again, it's like you just look at them and you kind of go, I get it. Like, I get it. You've lived in this echo chamber. This is the profile. This is the type of player you have to get. And if you don't fit in that profile, or if they don't fit in that, they can't, it's hard for them to think outside that box. It's hard for them to see anything more than that. And as worldly,
so is it in the blood, Jimmy?
yes,
It's the fire, like the fire's in the blood. Like if I speak to one of them, the guy that you just referenced here, whose name will remain anonymous, he can't have a conversation like we're having a conversation. It doesn't have, it's academic, like you said. It's where's the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
That's what they go to school for.
Where's everything? I say again, I was talking to someone this again, because as you see, I love, and this is the other part. I'm so grateful to the game. The game has given me a career and it's given me 30 years of coaching. I've been blessed. And I've always learned one thing. I always want to be around people that know more than me, or people that, or people that challenge me, or people that are going to always keep me on point, right? Or I can, right? And the thing that I've learned with this whole part is the ones that are most open are the ones that have done the most.
Interesting.
The ones that have nothing to hide.
Yeah. True.
Because they'll tell you, and they have nothing
to
everything.
They'll tell you everything. Even if it causes their destruction.
Right. They have nothing to hide because they've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Right? They'll tell you every little secret, every little thing, right? Because soccer. And so when we have these conversations about it's in the blood, it's what I was saying with this person. It's like nowadays, even with coaching, the match analysis says this and this. No, what are you feeling? What's the game telling you? The game's telling you, right now, I'm going to put a winger in. No, but that winger is not, or I'm going to put I don't know, we're going to change our shape. That's where today, for me, where the true coaching is done. That's why I think Pep and some of these guys are so good, because you come into the game with a game plan, and then the other team can watch 20 hours of film, both teams. So can you on the fly adjust? Can you have it in your veins to adjust? What happens with a lot of our national teams, youth national teams? They can't do it because they said, this is how we're going to play. We're going to play like this today, like this, like this, like this. And when the other team throws something different, they drown. When, again, we were cultured in a world where, I had to play in the premier polo fields. I had to change my shape because they're attacking me with through the left side. I got dropped 5, right? You had to learn within the game. Now it's so analytical again. Well, when they look at the screen and this and that, and that part, that understanding, that the DNA that comes through you to say, no, you know what? 1-0, let's go. We're gonna get another one. I'm gonna take this risk. No, the statistics say don't do it. No, I'm gonna do it because that's what I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Oh, dude. I don't know. Every time I say something like it's in the culture, or it's in the DNA, or it's in the blood, some of the responses I get is, it puts people down in a sense. It makes them sad because maybe they themselves are the classic suburban, affluent, demographic, and they never played the game, or maybe, you know what I mean? And so they're like, oh, so you mean to tell me that my son's never going to be anything because, he doesn't have it into the blood? I'm like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. It's just know that the rules that you set forth in your household and everything carries over to the soccer field, whether you believe it or not. The way that the kid comports himself. And I'm not talking about discipline and all those sorts of things. I'm just saying, I don't know, having some fire burning inside and letting the fire actually burn. It seems like we douse the fire every time a kid has some fire. Oh no, 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 that's too much. That's too much. Let's either give you a yellow card, a red card, or suspend you, or kick you out of the club, or kick you out of the team. You can't be saying X, Y, or Z. That destroys you, Jimmy.
Well, I think, again, I think just because I've seen it, I think the evolution has been with the parents, right? The kids are the same kids. Kids are always going to be the same. It's the parenting and the parents that have changed. I'll give you, I'm working on a book, right?
Nice.
I'm gonna give you a little chapter of it.
That'd be nice.
What I call the culture, right? We grew up in a culture. I grew up in a culture of where when we had PE, we'd be the last, the PE teacher would put the two captains and you pick everyone. And always the last one was always the one that didn't make it, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
imagine, okay, so take this analogy in life, right? So what happens is that last two kids that were never picked, or the last one never picked, he goes through his junior high, high school career, never makes the club team, never makes the varsity team, but he loves the sport so much, right? He loves it so much. So what happens? He was always, again, put down because he wasn't good enough. He goes to college, gets a great education, makes a lot of money, marries, and then he has a child. And he says, my son is going to be the pro athlete that I never was. Unfortunately, that child has the same DNA as his father. And that son, unfortunately, is not a good athlete. But now the father has the backing of money. So now, anytime that child goes through something difficult, where like say he's got some fire in him and stuff, and the coach's like, all right, or sit down, hey, get ready to get on the field where that fire burns. I'm taking you away. I doused that fire. The parents douse it. The first time a coach says, Johnny, run harder, go. And Johnny gets mad and runs harder. Dad comes, the mom comes, says, why are you making my son run harder? So that very parent has taken that fire away from that kid. The very system that the youth system we create, the culture that youth soccer culture we created, has created that. Because now they can leave and go to 20 different, 30 different clubs. So that sacrifice of grind, and why is it in football, in basketball, in America, they don't have? Because those are sports that we got to get out. And moms and dads are like, hey, let's go. We're going to get out. We're going to make it. Okay. You don't see many parents, I mean, in the environment say, oh, poor Johnny and this and that. Football, I was in the South, and I'd watch football, Pee Wee football, and these coaches were like, yo, man, let's go. You want to be a pro? And they're like 7, 8 years old. Get in the bris. Yeah. Right? And the parents are like, yeah, little Johnny, run. And here, unfortunately, it's become that. It's become so like the parents protect them at every turn. And what concerns me more than the soccer part is the type of, and just because I deal more with the boys, the men's side, I've always dealt with the men, it's what type of men are we raising that can't deal with problems, can't deal with challenges, can't deal with setbacks, can't deal with failure. They can't deal with it, Gary.
Nope.
Soccer's the avenue we love in the means in which we connect. But when they're at a young age and their first moment that, like, again, the first moment they have some little bit of sense of like anger to kind of like, I'm going to prove.
And let me stimulate you with what you're saying. Is there a difference between the demographics in the context of what you're saying? So a Latino family or a Latino father versus a classic, born and bred suburban family. Difference there.
It's funny you say that because, again, I've seen it, right? I feel the Latino kids nowadays are very different than they were. Both of them. It's changed. Some are second generation, third generation, right? When the kids that we were second generation, their parents had just come from Mexico, Salvador, Argentina, and they understood what it was about. Now we're second, third generation, where the parents are like, no, my little boy, mi little mijo, and he needs the $400 Adidas and Nike, Zoom boots, and back in the day, they wore what they wore, right? And now I can't play here because I need to have this, and so I think it's across the board. I
It's
really,
crossed. It's
yeah.
crossed. It used to be
Oh,
complete
yeah.
segregation, and now they've kind of merged. Yeah.
And it's funny because I used to tell people back in the day, when I played and when I coached my first few years, was um having grit and fight was never an issue back in the day.
Nope.
Having willingness, like, I'm gonna like run through someone. You could be mediocre, but you had that, and the special guys were always special. Now, if you find a kid that has grit and fight, I don't care how good or how bad he is, you're bringing him in.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that kid is like, you can do whatever you like. You can mold and you can make them however you want. And that goes for every level. I told that to parents, for every level. I'm a college coach, and I can get a kid that like is getting after teammates and this and that. I want that kid. If I'm a pro coach and I see a player at a college game, come on, let's go, we're gonna win, and going after it. If I'm at a youth game, freaking U14 or 2014's little guy, then come on, that kid, because now those kids don't exist anymore,
Those are the
right?
jewels now.
Those are the jewels now. That gritty, the dog in them. Those are the jewels now. Not the one that thinks again, oh well, I have a patch and I'm big time, right? And I can so no. I want the guy that says, oh, he has a patch, I'm gonna go through him and kick him up into the trees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's how it was when we were growing up. And I know some people will be like, "Oh, you guys, it's because you're stuck in the past or whatever." But it's fucking real, Jimmy. It's fucking real. When we would play, there were fights. Almost every other game, there'd be fucking fights on
But
the field.
Gary,
It'd get that serious.
yeah, but Gary, it's we're all when they say that we nostalgic. You go anywhere else in the world, it's like that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not like I'm making it up like, oh, the rest. No. You go watch a youth game in Argentina, it's the same way. You go watch a youth game in Uruguay. People say, again, I know you went to Spain many times, right? Barcelona plays or Madrid. They want to kill each other.
Yes.
Practical, like this. They're gonna kick each other. And if they can score 10 goals, they're gonna like, it's not gonna be like a pretty game. I mean, like Real Sociedad against Atletico Bilbao. It's gonna be a freaking
Jimmy, when our team, they were U13s, we were at Chivas USA, right? The famous team, famous YouTube team. And we went and played against Barcelona. We were tocando all over the field on them. When it was halftime, Jimmy, the Barcelona coach le tiró una recontra puteada, but like bad, like cussing them out bad. And here in the States, they heard stories like, oh, it's not about winning over in Spain or in the rest of the world. It's not in Barcelona because why? Because the academy director in Barcelona says, makes comments at times, oh, we don't care about winning, we care about developing professionals for the first team, which is true, okay, but to a point, okay, because they're always accustomed to winning and crushing everybody also at the youth level. So it's easy for them to say, oh, we focus on developing the pro and not so much the winning the games because they're winning. But I saw it twice in the same trip, okay? Once when they played against Espanyol, their cross-street rivals, bro, they were murdering each other. And then against us, the coach was dropping curse words left and right throughout halftime. The whole stadium heard it. And then throughout the second half, the same thing. So it's just the Americans here, they don't hear these stories. They don't know what it's like, dude.
It was what we say. We live in an echo chamber. We live in what's getting fed to us. We live in a world. And it's not to their, I think there's two things with this. It's not their fault because it's what's right. But on the other part is, then if it's not our fault, then if you have to be conscious enough to go like, I don't know everything. And
Yes.
I have to open my mind to it. But when you don't know everything, I say Americans, we have the two worst virtues. We're arrogant and we're ignorant, right? And we're arrogant of our own ignorance. And it's like, yo, we need to open ourselves up and go like, wait, like, how is it in other parts of the world? And why can't it be like that? Because there was a, why can't we be like that? Do you really want it to be like that? If you really want it to be like that, be careful what you ask for, because you're going to have these games like they were 20 years ago here in America, 25 years ago, and your minds are going to blow up because
They
you're going
can't
to,
handle a competition, man.
you're going to see your son, is your son, listen, people talk about high school soccer, right? High school soccer. You know what? I love high school soccer because that is I'm not talking about the quality of the soccer.
Sure. Yeah.
We're not talking about the builds and the nothing. We're talking about the sheer competitiveness. When you have a modern day Servite, a modern day Olu, and there's 1,000 people on the sideline yelling at you, 1,000 people in your grill, parents chirping at you. That's where I see that kid can play. That's where I see a lot where these kids come in all hyped up, like, oh, he plays at MLS Next and he's in ECNL. That's where I see where they, you know what? They shit the bed, excuse my language, right?
Yeah, totally.
Right? Right? That's where you see me going, no, that kid's not. Because when you're playing against guys that maybe aren't great soccer players, but they're going to fight for their shirt, they're going to fight for their school, right? That's what I love about it, the sheer competitiveness. And then you can see like, yeah, that kid can get it in there. That's the close. And some parents are like, wow, ref. And it's, no, let him play, man. So they're two-footing each other in the head. You know what I mean? But let him play. And that's for me why that's the missing part. And parents nowadays, if they were to get that, their mind would blow because they'd really find out when you only have 1 second to make a decision compared to 10, where I kid around and I went to watch an MLS, the event I went, kids were defending each other from about like freaking like 4 yards away, where in Uruguay, in Argentina, in Mexico, shit, that kid receives the ball and he's getting kicked. He's getting either making a decision on the ball, he's getting kicked, one of the two. So there you can evaluate if your son's a pro or not. There's like, oh man, he got out of that problem. And that's where we lack. And again, I think the biggest problem to your point is that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah. The trouble is, I don't blame them, but it does suck because they have influence, because they spread their ignorance too. So like it starts with the media too. The media is ignorant about all these sorts of things, and then they just spread the ignorance around. And then you have the parents who read the media and they're like, oh yeah, coach should behave this way. They should fold their hands, sit on the lawn chair and be quiet during the games. They should train during the week. And then on the weekend, the coach should be saying nothing at all. Let the kids play. The game is the best teacher. I know you like that one, right? The game is the best teacher. I want to crucify people. I want to, if you don't mind, Jimmy, I want to end with this because I don't want you to leave without me getting a little bit of this out of you, because you've coached at the youth level, at all levels. And you coach at the professional level here in USL as well. What would you say are kind of what comes to mind as to what's the same and what's different?
In what way?
So obviously one's a men's game and one's youth. And I'm thinking on two fronts. One is the sporting side. So do you kind of train the same way or different? And then the other is the external forces that exist in the pro game versus in the youth. Because in the youth, you can go and recruit and scout and execute and try to get players. But at the pro level, it's not all up to the coach. It's not all up to you, right? There's other folks in the loop who make those sorts of decisions and obviously impact the coach and what the coach will be capable of doing.
Yeah. I think, that's a great question. So let me start with the first part with the preparations and the sessions and stuff. I think the important thing is to know what you want to teach and how you want your teams to play. And then it's displaying that idea day to day, with with your activities, with your sessions, with your talks. I don't see it. And again, maybe because I've done it for so long with a young kid to an adult. I think you just have to gauge it to what that age and what that level allows it to be. Um, the biggest things that for the pro is you hope to have pros that are able to um, display or able to perform the actions you want them to perform,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
sometimes, unfortunately, you get in positions where they're not, even their shortcomings. Okay. So it's how do you prepare and how are you able then, which goes into the next segue is with the youth game, you can recruit, yes, but nowadays it becomes so difficult, right? You have nothing to entice. I
Right.
mean, right? So before it was, I'm a good coach. I've coached at all these levels. My team is good and we're moving up. Now it's, I'm a good coach. I've coached at all these levels. I can help your son. Yeah, but you don't have the patch, or
Right.
you're not right.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
so the value of certain things is placed on the importance on certain things are placed
Elsewhere.
let
Yeah.
elsewhere, right? So, with the pro game, again, from my experience was you have to be able to bring in the right types of players. And you have to bring in your types of players, and you need to be able to have the environment that you want to have. Okay. It's just like in the youth games in many cases when situations are where parents are not good parents, players are not, they have to be able to go. The same way they can leave, you should be able to say, parent, you need to go. Right. You're going to miss on some players in the pro game because it's normal. But the ability to have that and the important things that I feel in the is having your staff. In the youth game, we all have our own, we do our same, we might have an assistant and stuff, but at the pro game, you have to have your staff. If you are not able to have your own staff, it's a death sentence
Yeah.
because it's a cutthroat business, right? It's a cutthroat business, and you have to have the right people around you that when the moment comes are going to um, stick up for you, are going to have your back, are gonna or what's the word I'm looking for? Diffuse situations before they come to you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
where in the youth game, you have to be that buffer. If you have a manager, maybe,
Yeah.
but in the pro game, you have to have a good assistant, a good first assistant, a good second, a good goalkeeper coach, a sports performance. And those are really the essential guys that you have to keep close to you and guys that are your guys.
Yeah.
Because if one's not one of your guys, again, it's a tough situation. But I would say with this, one of the lucky parts that I had going into the pro game was I had such an experience during the times that I coached the youth game, right? I used to tell people, coaching at the pro game is not much different than coaching at the youth game, right? The parents are the fans. The opposing parents are always the media critiquing you. You're always going to have the difficult player in the youth game. You're always going to have the superstar. You're always going to have the bad one. And how you maneuver that, how you help them, or how you diffuse situations is what's going to allow your success, right? The same thing with the pro,
Yeah.
right?
You're gonna have the team manager at the pro level too. You're gonna have the director of coaching, so to speak, right? The sporting director at the pro level. So you have all the same components, all the same parties associated with it. The pressure obviously is different. Yes.
Yeah, I loved it. I love it. I loved it. You know what I mean? It's again, but oh man, that's funny to say, because I don't know if it's pressure, but it's just like, it's what feeds us and kind of drives us. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because I know what you're saying, because or I think I know what you're saying, because we would always feel pressure with our youth teams also because it's internal pressure. Like we want to win so badly, we want to perform so badly, and we want it for the players so
Yes.
badly that it's our own self-made pressure. So when you go to the pro game, yeah, there's those other pressures, or maybe business pressures or whatever, but you already give it to yourself.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of like what's
You
the
know,
difference? I guess the difference, Jimmy, I guess the difference is like at the youth level, if you're in charge, because I know you were in charge of Fullerton Rangers, and we were kind of in charge of our thing as well. Um, it doesn't matter if we lose a bunch of games. I mean, you might lose players that matters. They'll leave you, but it's not like Paul Walker at TFA or something is going to be like, oh, Brian, you're out of here, so to speak. Whereas the media here at the pro level, they'll build up pressure and maybe it ends up costing. I mean, that's the game. All coaches get fired. Mourinho gets fired everywhere he goes
oh,
to.
yeah.
So
For sure. No, but I mean, listen, again, it's to your point, it's the pressure we put on ourselves to want to
mhm,
win because that's all we know. And I think that's where, you know, sometimes we put undue pressure on ourselves, right? That
true, true.
right? But I wouldn't know any other way to do it, to be honest with you. Right. I mean, when I was at the pro level and coaching there, it's like, I mean, the owner's like, hey, we're good, don't worry. I mean, I had 4 very successful seasons where I was there, right?
Mhm.
But it was like we were on a 15-game unbeaten streak that to this day, you might want to tell your brother, I still
It's
have
still
the
the
record.
best one. Yeah, it's still the best one.
For the record, okay? So you
Yeah.
might want to go that to your
He,
brother.
he was close. He was
Look,
close.
hey, look at it. You're close. I still have the record to lead for the longest unbeaten streak, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so people and I'm like, no, I want to go. I want to keep going. And this is the other part. So I also have the record for most goals scored in a game. We won 7-1 in the USL League One. Yes, I have
Oh shit.
three records, right? But that's the second one, right? So people are like, why did you keep scoring more goals? I'm like, why wouldn't I? Like,
Mhm,
you know what I mean? Like, like,
mhm.
like that pressure of like, they're gonna give me 5, I'm gonna take 6. You're gonna give me 6, I'm gonna take 7. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Right? If I was gonna, it's like, it's that pressure of like we can't. We're built differently. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. You know what I mean? And even with, I think that's the biggest thing I've tried to really teach my kids now and at Boca, my club, right? It's like, the youngers, like, you have to be built differently in today's world. If you're built differently, ni la bala te entran. The bullets won't even enter your body.
Yeah. You'll
If you're,
crush people. You'll run people over. Mhm.
yes, you will crush people mentally, physically, spiritually. You have to be built different. I think that's where it just everything's about winning. Everything's about being the best. It's not every session to your point of the pro game, right? Every session, I wanted things done perfect because I don't know another way.
Yeah. Jimmy,
You know,
last question. Last question. Do you have a chip inside you where you can kind of turn it off or not? Because, from my personal experience, if I'm always on, ultimately it ends up clouding a little bit of my judgment and I make mistakes of judgment because my emotions have taken too much control of me. But it takes a while to develop that light switch of saying, okay, shut it off. And now all of a sudden I'm like calm, Gary, and I look at the world differently. Do you have that? And did you have it? Did you always have it? How did you develop it? Those sorts of things.
you know, yes, I do. Short answer to that question, yes, I do. I'm able to step on the field, work for an hour or whatever, 2 hours, and come off the field and be like, okay, crack jokes. People would say it's almost like bipolar, let's say, right? Or dual personality, right?
Yeah.
No, it's just when I step on the field or when I'm in this environment, you see how passionate I get. Right? It's like, this is everything. I'm going to put everything I can to help you and to do the best. When it's time, when I walk away, it's happy go lucky. I'm very different away. I'm very different when I'm with friends, with family, just in the street. I'm very different. I'm not the same person. And I think it was just to be fair, it was just, I think it was just developed growing up. You know what I mean? Where, again, we would be able to like deal with problems in our lives, and then when the soccer field came, like nothing else existed.
Yeah.
Right? We would have. I mean, we're all kids, right? We all had issues and stuff, and girlfriend breakups, and whatever, and family problems. But when we'd step on the field for training, it was, okay, this is soccer, and I love it, and this is what I'm going to do. And that has taken me through my whole life of like, okay, again, people might see me on the sideline and say, that guy's the biggest, whatever, but they don't know me away after 5 minutes after the game where I'm messing around my players. And I think that's what's been my success with my players over the years is that they see how much I care about them. They see
Yeah.
when it's time to work, that it's, we're here to work, we're going to be the best. And then we leave and it's like, all right, what do you got on your phone? You're playing, I don't know, freaking Tetris or whatever. We'll play, right? And be able to shut that off. And again, that's a gift and it's a curse as well. But again, it's something I would never change because it's given me what
Yeah.
I've been able to do all this.
What about when something bad happens? And it could be a million different things. Something bad like I don't know. Let's say in the youth game, there is a parent coup d'etat, that they're orchestrating to move the whole team away from the club or get you fired from your youth coaching gig or so,
When that
those
everywhere.
two things, when that shit is brewing,
Yeah.
it's like in your brain. And after your training session, or after your game, you go home, but that's like still in your mind, and you're mulling it over and you're thinking about, okay, how did this happen? What's going on? What are they not telling me? Who is my friend? Who is my foe? Like, like I'm thinking of those situations, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you've felt them.
Oh, but I've lived it at every level. I've lived it at the pro level, at the youth level, and again, it's I think redemption is a beautiful thing,
Mm,
right? And the truth eventually always comes out.
true. Yes.
The truth is always out there, right? And I've been blessed again that the truth it's always been come out, and the redemption has been set, right? And I think I've learned over the years to kind of there's things you can control, things you can't control,
It
right?
comes with age. It comes with age, though, right?
Yeah.
Because when you were 30, maybe you don't see it the same way.
Oh, of course, of course.
Mhm.
Had some crazy stuff happen at 30 and stuff. And I tell this, it's funny because I haven't said this one in a while. When you first started coaching, when I first started coaching, you had that first parent stab you in the back, right?
Right.
And you have that scar, right?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
go, it's never going to happen again. I'm going to see it coming, right? Then it happens again. The same knife on the back. That scar gets bigger and it gets more keloid, right?
Calloused.
It's callous, thicker, 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 right? To now, I've lived through so much that my back, I'm like a turtle. It's like the shell I have.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So nowadays, I see things happening and I see it a mile away and it doesn't bother me. Like
Yeah.
back in the years, I would argue and fight about it. It's like, no, because you know what? I've seen this movie before and I see el tiempo me va a dar la razón. Time is going to give me the reason, right? I'm still here 30 something years later, still at the highest level, still, right? And time always will redeem and will always, so just take a deep breath. Um, Enjoy the ride, enjoy the family, enjoy it because it always ends up working out in the end. Always. And that's the one thing I've learned with the thing with the soccer part, like, oh my God, I'm losing this kid and this and this and this team is folding or they're saying this about me and this. You know what? It is what it
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
works out in the end. It always does.
Yeah, no, that's a brilliant way to end it, Jimmy, because I get tons of correspondence from coaches, right? Because they seek out coaching education and things of this nature. And they share with me all these same stories that you've experienced, that we've experienced, that I've experienced. But in the beginning, it's true. It's like the end of the world. So when I get these emails from coaches that are brand new or within 5 years of coaching, they think it's like the end of the world. But I also can't tell them, right? Oh, it's all gonna be fine. It'll be okay, because they're in the pain. They're in the thick of it. And you kind of just have to go through it, Jimmy. Man, yeah. Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, man.
Oh man.
There you go. There you go. I hear you again.
Okay. The one thing I would end with to that
Yeah,
point,
tell me.
to tell those coaches, just be who you're going to be. Don't
Yeah.
ever sell yourself out. Don't ever compromise your values. Don't ever compromise your standards, your expectations, the person that you want to be and the coach you want to be. You know why? Because the moment you do that, you're no longer you. You've given in to the parent, you've given into the team, you've given into the ownership, you've given into the players. Listen, we're not perfect. None of us. But if you believe in what you believe in, and if you are steady in your values and the person that you are, again, like I said, it all will work out in the end. No one is worth selling your soul for, and no one's worth selling anything for. So believe in who you believe in, say what you have to say, like you, Gary, that you've done this for a long time, right? Okay. We have to be that voice. And again, because too many people just feel like, well, I have to give in because of this. No, be who you have to be and be comfortable with it.
Beautiful way to end, Jimmy. I hope we get to meet in person soon again, dude. It's been much too long. Let's stay in touch, yes? And let's do it again if you're open to it.
Absolutely. Anytime I'm around, I'm leaving for FIFA stuff and Uruguay stuff, and so I can share some of that next time. And yeah, man, it was a pleasure. And again, keep fighting the fight, because people are listening out there.
Beautiful, Jim. Thanks, man.
God bless.